Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to Apply. All right, so today is a very special episode. This episode, I don't know, it's probably going on 2 years in the making. So I have Scott Haig on the line. He is president over at Arabica Coffee House. First off, Scott, you back from travels. I know you're heading back out. I just want to say welcome to the show. Finally, I got you on.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm very happy and thank you. Thank you.
So, Scott, we got a whole lot to cover today. So we're going to talk about, of course, Arabica Coffee House. We're going to talk about the new branding, the new product. We're going to talk about expansion of Arabica. I mean, it's going crazy, and I'm so excited to be a part of your journey and to work on this with you. So we got a lot to cover, but we'll get this episode started the way that we start them all, with what we like to call our Mission Matters Minute. So, Scott, at Mission Matters, our goal and our aim is to amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. That's what we do. Scott, what mission matters to you?
Well, at Arabica Coffee House, our mission is really to try to make everybody feel at home and comfortable in our settings. We feel that our coffee is up and above, I would say 95% of our competitors in the country and around the world. We roast each bean separately, and then if it's a blend, we combine them after. So all the properties are correct in all of our products and our beans.
Hmm.
We really do cater to our customers. We have a basic menu, but we do allow, every area is a little bit different. So we do allow the local culture or the local people to dictate 15 to 20% of what we do. So we listen. We're there for our people, and we try to get our franchisees the biggest bang for their buck.
Yeah. Yeah, and so just a big shout out to Dave Andrus. I know he'll be watching this, and so that's who originally introduced us together and started talking about it. And I believe he was correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he was a franchisee, or is a franchisee, excuse me, and he still does work very closely with the company. He was one of our authors, of course, in our Mission Matters series. He also is a host on the podcast network. So, and Dave still works within as a franchisee and everything else, right? Like he's a partner, yeah.
Correct. Yes, he's a franchisee and he's a partner. I developed an easy concept called Arabica Express. And what this is it's a simple way to put a mini Arabica or a type of kiosk
Mhm.
into another existing business. And the goal was to really create extra revenue at a really low cost to our franchisees. Like, he put one Arabic Express into one of his gyms, his clubs, Ohio Gym, and he also has Northern Ohio Business Center, and he put one in an Arabic Express in one of those. So it's just to help really our franchisees, or even people who have an existing business. It could be a second concept, it could be a ghost kitchen type of thing. So it's working out well, and Dave's a great guy.
Yeah. So I want to take a step back in your career and get into what you've done, even prior to coffee, because you've been a restaurant guy for a long time. Am I off of that? Hospitality, restaurants, et cetera, right?
Correct. I started when I was 11 years old in 1981. I guess
Mhm.
that tells how old I am. My father and my mom, we actually moved from Detroit to Cleveland to
Mm,
open a pizza restaurant, and they worked so hard.
mm.
They put all of their time, their money into this, and in 18 months, we had three locations.
Wow.
So, Detroit was already pretty pretty well established.
Yeah.
Cleveland is, I like to say, 10 years behind Detroit. So we came here with the aim of growing. And that kind of, I love the pizza business, but it also let me know that I wanted to do more.
Mm,
And that's when I really decided I wanted to explore other avenues.
yeah. And so just fast forwarding a bit, how'd you discover coffee? Like, was that always a fascination, or like how'd you get to Arabica?
Well, being of the Middle Eastern descent,
Mhm.
we're very much coffee drinkers.
Yeah.
I had developed a brand called Wraps International, and we had 8 locations in just under 2 years. And
Mm,
the people from Arabica loved what I was doing, and they contacted me and they said, "Hey, we want you to incorporate what you're doing with our coffee.
Mm,
So I started working with them for maybe a year or so,
mhm.
and things just were not well. It was just not organized. And I told
Mm,
them, I said, look, I'll do the work. I'm willing to do it, but I would like to take the company. I'll buy it.
mm,
And we finally came to a deal because our our views just weren't the same. I wanted to
yeah.
expand, they wanted to stay in Cleveland. And so I won.
Mm.
They the company came with me and the rest is history.
Was that the original owners and the original like establishment that you bought
Yes.
it from?
Well, it was the second owners. The
Mm,
first owner, actually, the first owner, I have to commend him. He was excellent. He
yeah,
started in 1976, and
yeah,
he was one of the first coffee houses in the United States. I mean, he
yeah.
was really ahead of his time.
And
He
that's why
got
I asked you that question and as well, because I think when we first met, I was thinking to myself and I'm like, wait a minute, coffee houses in the 70s? Because I know this is a, I mean, nothing against any new coffee brands, by the way. So I don't need any emails or mail from anybody. Like, what? Just because I just started, it's okay if you just started your coffee brand. I'm pulling for you. Like, no, no,
right.
we're about empowering and encouraging the entire coffee industry, other than the ones that sell sugar. I'm not going to say any names, but
I
but
won't say Starbucks. I won't say that.
but that being said, like I was just so impressed by the pedigree and even just the origin of the coffee house, like in the 70s, a coffee house. Like, how did that happen?
He really was ahead of his time. His name was Carl Jones,
Mm,
and he wanted a place for people to relax, sit, be able to enjoy themselves.
yeah.
He actually roasted on site in our first store on
Mm,
Coventry Road in 1976. And then it really expanded in Cleveland. And then around 2007, when the economy really took a hit, it really hurt us bad. And that's when
mm,
I decided to go international.
yeah. So the franchise model, like let's go a little bit into that before we maybe talk about some of the international stuff and how you're expanding. Like how did you come up with the franchise concept in terms of like how to start spreading this thing and growing it?
Well, being in the business for so long, franchising, it's not super hard because you're not really reinventing yourself. You're following a strict model. So
Mhm.
basically there's a template, you put your standard operating procedures in the template,
Yeah.
and that's basically how a franchise goes. So if you're successful in one location and you
Mhm.
feel that you can duplicate it, that's basically how the franchising system works. So
Mhm.
it's really our systems of operation, the quality of our products, and
Mhm.
the fantastic people that work with us.
Yeah. So I got a story for everyone. So I when I first started getting into so when I first met Scott, Dave introduces us and he's like, I'm gonna send you some coffee. Like I was expecting a bag or two, like, and I'm like, okay, because I like coffee. And I actually before meeting you, Scott, I think I've told you this, I thought I knew a little bit about coffee. I was like, oh, I like going to this place. I like going to this place. Like, yeah, I love some coffee. Let's try it. Let's see it because we are thinking about like where maybe mission matters or where I fit into this whole equation. I'm like, yeah, let me taste it. And the funny story is Scott sends me this box. There had to be, I don't know, 10, minimum 10. There might have been 15 different blends or different flavors. And the organic, oh my gosh, we're going to talk a little bit about the organics in a minute. But I started going down this journey of exploration that just opened up my mind to like what real coffee was. I realized honestly, I never really had like real coffee. I thought I had, but it was nothing like this. And I was started going through the Sumatras, the organics, like you had all of these different kinds, even the regular, like the American blend, like which was a little bit a different flavor. And I was like, wow, like there was just a different level of quality going through all this. And then I was like, oh, I was hooked. Like after that, I was hooked. So maybe like let's spend some time, Scott, and talk about the product because what just me going through my tasting journey and what you've also taught me about product, like I feel like many people that'll watch this think they know coffee and maybe like me, I thought I knew coffee and I didn't. So talk to us about the product.
Well, we source beans from over 40 countries around the world. We
Mm,
only use the select either grade A or triple A
mm,
Arabica beans. We never use Robusta.
yeah.
And as I stated earlier in the show,
So
we
what does
roast,
that mean? What's the importance of that? I don't want to like
well,
skip over that.
the Arabica bean is the taste, it's better. It's a smaller bean. There
Mm.
may be a little bit less caffeine in it, but the quality and the taste, it's not
So that's where
comparable.
that flavor comes from.
Correct. The Robusta, you get a lot of bitterness at the end, and you're like, that's what a lot of instant coffees are made. Or
Mm,
some companies will say, okay, here's an Arabica blend, and it'll be 50% Arabica and 50% Robusta. We
mm,
don't do that. We
mm,
roast everything separately, and everything is blended at the end. So each bean, it's like a vegetable. If you're cooking a vegetable,
mm,
each vegetable might take a little bit of a different amount of time to be soft where you want it to be able to cook to
mm,
throw in your soup or whatever that may be. Same thing with coffee beans.
mm.
The texture, the size, everything's a little bit different. So we roast each bean separately. We blend at the end. Arabica, we have, I believe, 12 or
And to
13.
juxtapose that real quick, just to juxtapose that, so that's, I'm guessing, a little bit more of a difficult process, takes a little bit more time than, and normally, like if you're cutting corners, you wouldn't do these things, right?
Correct. The big monster roaster, again, I won't mention their name, but they throw all their beans in at once and they roast them dark. And that's the way that you pretty much hide the flavor of the coffee. If you're roasting it to a full city roast, which means it's pretty done, you hide a lot of the flaws in the beans where we're totally opposite. We're more of a boutique
Mm.
roaster or roastery, but we're not because we can service everybody.
Yeah. And you're roasting quite a bit a year, right? Like it's this,
Correct.
yeah.
Correct. We're several hundred tons a year.
So it's not, when you say boutique and you're like several hundred tons, I'm like,
Boutique
and
in the
coffee is
meaning of,
different. I know.
yeah, the way that we roast, that would be, it's more of a specialized roasting company.
Yeah, yeah. So continue the story. I just didn't want to skip over that because those
Oh,
nuances, like those nuances come up in the flavor and the palate and everything else. So these aren't like, it's not a common thing. That's why whenever I'm telling anybody about the product or otherwise, I'm like, no, you got to try this. Like you got to try this
really?
because most of the time you're not going to have access to that. And it's
Right.
so go ahead, continue on
You know,
on the product.
uh, our statement, our motto is the proof is in the cup. You know, when
Mhm.
somebody says, "How is this?" I give them a cup. Please
Yeah,
taste it. You tell me. You know, when we go up against the big guys, we win 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 challenges.
yeah.
Not a problem. Somebody who's a lifelong Starbucks or Dunkin' drinker, you know,
Hmm.
they might like that, and that's okay. There's no
Yeah.
problem. Our product is superior. We also try to sell a little bit below market so we can hit as many people as we can. But quality is job one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really our motto also.
And so part of this was me kind of exploring the process too, because I found it super unique that as you start expanding like internationally and start doing this, that your product is not only like standing up and superior in the United States, but you're even being called to, other countries. And I'm like, especially some of the countries that you mentioned to me, which you can definitely talk about here. I was thinking, wait a minute, they're coming to the us for coffee for like what? Some of these are some pretty old cultures, right?
Right, right. You know, I was just in Saudi 2 weeks ago, and I'm
Like
gonna
that.
have to.
Like for example, I would think that they have their flavor for everything. Like they're set in stone on the way they do things. Super old culture. And then you tell me, hey, we're expanding over this. I'm like, really?
Well,
Like how'd that happen? So the product, like you can't do that without the product.
right. The younger generation there, it's like 80% of the population now, and
Mm,
coffee is just booming in the Middle East.
yeah.
Yes, tradition, old time companies, things like that,
Mm,
they're all there.
yep.
I had some Saudi coffee, Saudi cafe coffee, not the traditional Arabic
Yeah.
coffee. And I'm telling you, it was probably 80% Robusta, and I couldn't even drink it. And I'm
Wow.
spoiled to say that, you know, not just ours, but Arabica coffee itself, it's
Mm,
just head and shoulders above
mm.
the rest.
Yeah. So talk to me about some of this international expansion, like the countries you're working in, like the calls you're getting. And for context for everybody that's watched this, every time I talk to Scott, I'm like, where are you at? How? What time zone? He's always somewhere else. So I'm like, so talk to me about this expansion and just plans.
Well, we're blessed this year, especially. It's been really good. I just went on a 4 country trip to Kuwait, Egypt,
Mm.
Turkey, and 2 cities in Saudi. We're opening in all those countries. I'm going to Pakistan next, Bangladesh,
Mm.
Thailand. We have a lot going. I mean,
Yeah.
really, we've been blessed. And it's about the product, our fairness, our
Mhm.
openness with the people. And let's face it, at the end of the day, American companies are still respected around the world. And that's
Yeah.
something that we're hanging our hat on.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great story. And so one of the things that I'm proud to announce is that we've been working with really hard to get product available online website, and really just making it user friendly so that others can get access to it, so they can order it and enjoy it in their home too, because they don't know Scott, so he's not going to mail them some. so 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 Arabica 1976. So we're doing it. We're in the middle of a soft launch right now.com, and now we're going to be accepting online orders. So I'm super pumped and super excited about this. And really, just this next, again, this is a soft launch, and we're going to start bringing this into more of Mission Matters marketing. So you're going to hear a whole lot more about this product and about the partnership. And this is just really, I think this is your first time on the show, right, Scott? Yeah.
First time, yes.
Yeah, so we have a bunch of media marketing, and even outside of like our partnership, and I've told you this before, Scott, like even outside of what we're doing and this coffee, and obviously we're promoting it, but even outside of that, I'm just so interested at the other entrepreneurs that are out that are opening up new Arabica locations and express locations and other things, because ultimately, because you've gone the franchise model, like you're providing a lot of opportunities for others that want to be in the coffee space with a superior product. So talk to me a little bit more about your vision for providing this opportunity, and specifically for the franchising side of things, and kind of what that looks like. A lot of people watch this and they're thinking about, hey, thinking of a franchise, what space they want to be in or otherwise. So I want to make sure to get your hat in the ring on this one.
Well, the one thing I would say that separates us is basically everything's run through me and my team, and we're
Mm.
not a team of 100 people. We have 10 quality people
Yeah.
that we sit down or we're on Zoom, we make our decisions and we move. We feel that acting fast and appropriate is really how to do business, especially in this day and age. If you
Mm.
snooze, you lose, and we're not going to lose. We pride ourselves in nobody outworking us.
Mhm.
Now, as I say that, as again, and we offer a little bit of flexibility in our franchises where most of them are very hard on the line. You must follow ABC and there's
Yeah.
no variance. We're a little bit different where we'll give variance as long as we help create the product and make sure it's up to our standards. So we don't
Mm.
want to let anybody down. We want to make sure if they get an espresso or if they get a latte or if they get a bubble tea, it's all great quality. That's what
Yeah.
we do. Good quality at fair prices. We want everybody to be able to enjoy our
Mm.
products.
And that makes sense, right? Because you're going into different markets. Like you couldn't service let's say the Middle East, Turkey, the United States, like different palettes, different types of products that
Correct.
they want and that are going to sell, right? Am I misunderstanding that? I just want to make sure I'm on.
I think no, that's you're 100% right. Like I said, we have our basic menu with the European espresso drinks and things like that.
Mhm.
We have some Asian influence in our bubble teas. We have all the cold drinks, everything. But as I say, in the Middle East, if there's something like a certain flavor syrup or something that they like more, like they like pistachio there, where here in America it's not so popular. Why
Mm.
not let them serve it? It's not hurting us. If we have
Yeah.
it and it's already good quality product, there's no problem with that as far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. And then if you think about the like just the brand, I think it's interesting. Like I can't I crack up about this when I think about it. I'm like, a Cleveland company started in the 70s has a coffee place in the Middle East or in Turkey or in like all these other countries you're looking at. Like, what does that feel like for you just as an entrepreneur, like you personally, to be able to spread and continue to spread that brand really worldwide? What does that feel like for you?
It's nice. Honestly though, pride and the joy is if
Yeah.
my franchisees are happy and if
Yeah.
they keep continuing to expand, then I'm happy. If
Mhm.
I always tell somebody, if I think that there's a chance you're not going to open in a particular location,
Mhm.
I will tell you no. Many people will not do that, but
Yeah,
I
they'll
don't
just take
want.
the money, right? Like the
Correct.
franchise, or they're like, hey, yeah, great.
I
Okay.
don't want to hurt them and I don't want to hurt my brand. So we're
Yeah.
doing what's best. We're opening in Arkansas, in
Mm.
Fort Smith, Arkansas in a few weeks. That's our first one in America outside of Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah.
So
Congratulations. That's
thank you.
amazing.
Perry
That's
Patel,
amazing.
shout out. I just, if it's a good person and good
Yeah.
location, and if they're financed, because I don't want them to struggle just in
Yep.
case it takes a few months to get on their feet, then I'm all for it. You know, we
Yeah.
want success. We want to grow our brand properly. We want everybody
Mm.
happy and to grow together. If we grow together, we're successful.
And who'd you say that was? You said it was in Arkansas?
Yes, Perry Patel is his name, Fort Smith,
Mm.
Arkansas. Good man.
Amazing. Congrats, Perry. And hey, we got to get Perry on the show. I want to hear Perry's story because this is interesting. Another entrepreneur to feature, like in the Arabica family. So
Great,
welcome to the family, Perry. That's
great.
amazing. Yeah. Well, Scott, I just have to say it has been great catching up with you. Finally get you on the show. I know you're heading back out. You're going somewhere abroad pretty soon, like always. That being said, if somebody's watching this or listening to this and they want more information on Arabica Coffee House and just to, connect and follow the journey, what's the best way for them to do that?
The best way is www.arabica-cafe.com
Yeah.
or check out our news website that we have with Adam, Arabica 1976. If you're interested in some coffee,
Yeah.
we can make it happen at reasonable prices shipped.
Amazing. And we'll put and for everybody watching or listening to this, we'll put all that information in the show notes. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We have many more interviews coming up and we don't want you to miss a thing. Scott, thank you so much again for your
Thank
time.
you.
And I can't wait to the next time we get to do this.
Thank you, Adam.